Most men think women crave compliments. That's half true, but the real craving runs the other way. What she truly feeds on is your approval, and she's mastered the art of getting it without ever asking. You've seen it 1,000 times. A woman doesn't argue, doesn't demand, doesn't shout. She just looks away, goes quiet, and lets silence do the talking. Suddenly, you feel an itch to fix the mood, to explain yourself, to text again, to please her. You don't even realize it, but you've stepped into the oldest psychological trap in the book, the approval game. Here's the uncomfortable truth: approval is a form of currency in social and romantic dynamics. Men give it freely, thinking it builds intimacy. Women, on the other hand, spend it strategically, knowing every nod of approval raises or lowers the emotional stock market between you. When you chase her approval, you become an investor in her perception, and she becomes the one controlling the market. Evolution wired this imbalance perfectly. Men signal fitness through action, achievement, pursuit. Women signal value through selectivity, by rewarding only the behavior that serves their emotional and reproductive strategy. So when she withholds approval, she's not being cruel, she's testing for certainty. She wants to feel your composure under emotional scarcity. That's why silence works. It turns your own psychology against you. Your brain starts flooding with cortisol, demanding closure, recognition, and reassurance. And while you scramble for it, she's calmly observing your stability. Most men fail right there. They think approval earns affection, but it usually buys obedience. The real power move? Learning that you don't need her validation to be valuable. Because once you stop chasing her approval, you start commanding respect instead of begging for it. Picture this: you send her a message, something clever, something genuine, and then you wait. You check your phone once, twice, maybe 10 times. Minutes stretch into hours, and your brain starts whispering, "Did I say something wrong? Did she lose interest?" That slow-burning anxiety? That's not romance. That's chemistry, specifically, dopamine withdrawal. See, men are biologically wired to chase certainty. Dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule, fires not when we get the reward, but when we anticipate it. And when that anticipation is left hanging, the craving spikes. The silence becomes addictive. You're no longer texting her. You're feeding your brain's craving for closure. Behavioral psychology calls this intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful training schedule on Earth. It's the same system slot machines use. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, and that unpredictability keeps you hooked. Every delayed reply, every half-hearted compliment, every little mystery acts as a variable reward. Your brain gets trapped in the loop: approval, relief, withdrawal, chase, repeat. That's why men keep failing this test. They confuse validation for connection, thinking her attention equals intimacy. But attention isn't affection, it's data. Women subconsciously collect it to calibrate your frame, your confidence, your patience, your emotional control. She's not manipulating you, she's measuring you. Here's the paradox: the more you seek approval, the less approved you appear. Because approval seeking signals low mate value, your brain is broadcasting neediness, the exact opposite of what attracts her in the first place. She doesn't lose interest because you texted too soon. She loses attraction because you stopped being a challenge. Once you understand this loop, it's almost comical. She's not playing a cruel game, she's responding to ancient biology. Female selectivity evolved to filter out unstable energy. And every time you overthink, chase, or over-explain, you fail the very test she didn't know she was giving. Break the loop, and you reclaim the frame. Because once you see how the approval trap works, you'll never chase it again. You'll observe it, smile, and let her wonder why you're so calm. Watch closely: the most powerful move she makes is often the one you don't even notice. No words, no arguments, no visible confrontation. Just a pause. A glance. A small shift in tone or a delay in response. It feels subtle, but that silence is doing the heavy lifting. It's shaping the emotional landscape without a single word spoken. You text her a compliment: "You looked amazing last night." She reads it, but the reply doesn't come. A minute passes. Then 10. You start questioning whether it was too much, too soon, too obvious. That spiral is exactly the point, not that she planned it, but that it works. Or she doesn't reply to your story. You post something witty or bold, you expect a reaction, maybe a heart emoji. Nothing. You tell yourself she's busy, but your mind replays the silence like a skipped heartbeat. Or intimacy lingers just out of reach. You think the connection is deepening, but she slows down, not to reject you, but to observe how you handle the gap between desire and fulfillment. In evolutionary terms, her behavior is genius. Female psychology evolved around selectivity and social calibration. Where men prove value through pursuit, women prove it through restraint. When she pauses, delays, or withholds, her body is unconsciously measuring your stability, your ability to stay grounded in uncertainty. Biochemically, this silence activates both sides of the equation. Your dopamine spikes from anticipation. Her oxytocin system, the bonding hormone, waits for proof of emotional safety. The one who panics first loses the frame. And in that stillness, she gains silent power. That's why silent rejection isn't rejection at all, it's a form of dominance calibration. It's nature's way of testing whether your confidence is internal or conditional. Can you hold your ground when your ego isn't being stroked? Can you stay composed when approval is withheld? It also plays into the modern attention economy. The one who withholds attention controls value. By staying quiet, she raises her market price, making your next interaction feel like a reward, not a right. Every delay builds scarcity, every unanswered message amplifies curiosity. Add pre-selection cues into the mix, the way others respond to her, the social proof she carries, and silence becomes her most efficient amplifier. She doesn't need to prove worth. She lets your imagination do it for her. Silence isn't absence, it's her weapon of calibration. A mirror reflecting how secure or desperate you are. Most men rush to fill the silence, revealing everything they were trying to hide. The calm man lets it breathe, knowing comfort in the void is the real proof of value. Now that you can recognize it, here's how to flip the frame, not by out-silencing her, but by mastering your own response. So how do you win a game where silence is the weapon and attention is the currency? Simple, you stop playing defense. You become the judge, not the applicant. Most men walk into dating like they're applying for emotional approval, resume in hand, trying to prove they're good enough. But attraction doesn't work like a job interview, it works like a courtroom. The man who sets the tone, who stays calm and decisive, automatically becomes the one being evaluated by her, not for her. Start with this mindset shift. Approval isn't something you chase, it's something you grant. When she withdraws, don't rush to fill the silence. Let it hang. When she goes cold, don't scramble for warmth, stay at room temperature. Because the man who controls his emotional temperature controls the frame. This is where emotional minimalism comes in. It means responding with curiosity, not reaction. You don't need to be stone-faced or robotic. You just stay grounded. She goes quiet after a text? You simply mirror her pace. She seems distant on a date? You relax into it, maybe smile slightly, and say, "You seem lost in thought. Everything okay?" She pulls away physically or emotionally? You lean back and say, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere." Notice the tone, calm, measured, self-contained. You're not matching her withdrawal with aggression or anxiety, you're matching it with stability. That stability rewires the dynamic instantly, because of one powerful mechanism, mirror neurons. Human brains unconsciously copy emotional energy. If you project scarcity, she'll feel it and pull back more. But when you project calm certainty, her nervous system syncs with yours. You become the emotional thermostat, not the thermometer. That's real masculine leadership, silent influence through presence. Here's the mini reveal, detachment isn't distance, it's leadership. You're not withdrawing to punish her, you're holding your own gravity. You're reminding her, and yourself, that attraction grows in the space between, not the pressure within. Next time you feel the urge to chase, remember this: women test for security, not compliance. She wants to feel your steadiness more than your speed. She doesn't need you to react, she needs you to remain. Because the moment you stop performing for approval, you become the man whose validation matters. Your mantra from now on: approve reality, not her approval. Stay composed, stay observant, stay in frame. It all comes back to the currency of approval, the invisible economy running beneath every conversation, every glance, every text left unseen. You either spend it recklessly, or you invest it with precision. And that choice determines whether you lead the dynamic or get led by it. There are two archetypes in this game. The first is the approval chaser, restless, overanalyzing, forever checking his emotional balance sheet. He measures his worth by her reaction, mistaking her silence for danger instead of data. His mind stays in overdraft, and every ounce of attention becomes a desperate deposit. Then there's the other man, the frame holder. He radiates calm certainty. He knows silence isn't rejection, it's just space. He doesn't buy into scarcity because he knows his presence is already valuable. His validation isn't given, it's earned. And because he doesn't chase it, women instinctively chase him. That's the paradox most men never solve. When you stop chasing approval, you become the approval. Confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. Power isn't control over her, it's control over your own reactivity. The man who masters his frame isn't immune to silence, he just understands it. So here's the ultimatum: learn this, or keep repeating the loop. Keep mistaking attention for affection, validation for connection, and you'll stay stuck in emotional servitude. Or, step out of the game entirely, by realizing you never needed permission to be valuable. Because her silence loses power the moment your inner voice gets louder.